All right. Welcome to another installment of Old Men Yell at Cloud. I'm Jim Schultz, and as always, I'm joined with Christopher Brown and Patrick Barry. I'm actually going to say their names this time so there isn't an awkward fucking silence.
Thanks there, Dingleberry.
Thanks.
There they are. All two of them.
There's my awkward silence. I added it in there.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's always good when you're podcasting if you punctuate your awkward silence with a banana noise. So let me give you an example.
What the fuck is a banana noise? All right, so today we're going to be talking about the Campfire Headphase by Scottish duo Boards of Canada, and we are joined today with our very special friend, Erik Marks.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Also of Second Class Cinema, the Battles episode, we had Tom on, and now we have Erik. And
Excellent.
there he is.
I was hoping to have an awkward silence, and I got one. I'm very happy about that.
Good.
Yeah, we're good like that. I have so many. I have awkward silences for days.
Love a good awkward silence.
Yeah.
That's why they call him Awkward Silence Barry.
Yep.
It rolls right off the tongue.
So fitting. Fitting.
I love Boards of Canada. I'm glad we finally got to do a Boards of Canada album. It's just such a good, weird sound.
Yeah, this is a groovy album.
Yeah.
I dig it.
All right, so a little background here. The Campfire Headphase is the third studio album by Boards of Canada released by Warp Records in October 2005, which is my 18th birthday.
Oh, happy birthday, Jimmy.
The album featured the addition of more organic musical elements, including heavily treated acoustic guitars and more conventional song structures. It received generally positive reviews from critics and reached number 41
to the top of the charts.
on the UK album chart. The duo began recording sketches for the album as early as 2002, but did not work on the project in earnest until 2004. According to Michael Sanderson, in comparison to their previous releases, they aimed to simultaneously shift and reduce the sound palette, making it more like a conventional band gone over the edge.
Whoa.
This resulted in the presence of fewer samples, vocals, cryptic references in favor of organic instrumentation. Regarding their process, Sanderson stated, "We usually imagined our music to have a visual element while we were writing it, so we were picturing this character losing his mind at the campfire and compressing weeks of events into a few hours in that time-stretching way that acid fucks with your perception."
Yeah, I mean, they just lay it right out there.
You
got to do drugs to this record.
Oh, yeah. I wrote in big capital letters on this for my notes, drugs. The duo avoided effects units and computer programming when possible, preferring to manipulate hardware sounds through direct modifications and EQing.
So, what does that mean? Explain for the audience that doesn't know.
I mean, on their actual Wikipedia page, they talk about how they liked to kind of misuse audio equipment. So I think
Okay.
a lot of it is just knob turning and fucking with tape machines and
Doing everything wrong right, basically.
yeah.
I just assumed they were fucking something in the studio.
Those little tiny patch bays, man.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael, what do you think it'll sound like if I fuck this tape machine?
Hey, am I using it right?
No, you guys are doing it wrong. They're Scottish, so they'd be like, "Hey, you're gonna fuck that?"
Yeah, you basically just
fuck
wouldn't
it.
be able to understand any of it. I know they're speaking English, but I just don't understand.
Yeah, they have some magical words. Those Scottish.
They do.
I cannot understand ye.
Yeah, there we go. That's a good
I
one.
said don't fuck it. What? I said stop fucking it.
Sound like Gerard Butler.
Yeah, he's Scottish, right?
Yes,
They're all Scottish.
We all are.
Everyone?
Everyone.
the entire world.
Yeah, only on St. Haggis Day, though.
Saint
We're all a little Scottish on St. Haggis Day.
Yeah, so the two of them are brothers. So it's Michael Sanderson and Marcus Owen is his middle name, but it's actually Marcus. So it's Michael and Marcus Sanderson. And we were talking about this during the listen. They've been working together since 1986.
Yeah.
We were talking about your sibling. Yeah, I've been working together since he was born, pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah, you had to be there, guys.
It's just a great way of referring to your sibling. Oh, yeah, my brother Ryan, yeah, I've been working with him since, I was born in 82, so since then.
Yeah. We had a gig back in 91. I would destroy his toy trucks, and he would cry. It's really good.
It was pretty good. Not a huge crowd at the time, but people were still talking about it now. It's one of those things where, like, not a lot of people were there, but these days everyone says they were there.
Yeah,
Like the Sex Pistols in Manchester, that sort of thing.
Yeah, so the two of them kind of started this endeavor, kind of based around old like samples of tape and weird like public educational videos and stuff like that.
yeah.
Yeah, they would just take samples from old weird shit from their childhood.
I'm sure it got pretty deeply weird, too, being from Scotland and all.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess they were getting all their shit from Canada because they said the name of the band came from because they used to watch TV programs from the distributor National Film Board of Canada.
Oh, interesting.
Oh man.
So instead it was just like vowel-rich people talking about like how to like properly maintain a bag of milk.
They must have got a ton of the raccoons on that. You guys know the raccoons?
The raccoons?
It's like as a concept in general, I'm aware of raccoons. Yeah.
No, it was a television program, animated cartoon from Canada.
The raccoons?
Yeah, the raccoons.
I am not aware of this. This sounds pretty great, though.
Yeah, and they used to show it on the Disney Channel, but it was a cartoon. It was a Canadian cartoon from like the mid '80s, and they were showing it on the Disney Channel, like when we were kids in like the
Speaking
late
of
80s.
old cartoons, today in the office, one of the people from the one of the nerdy teams, this guy definitely has like severe Asperger's, but he comes running into the kitchen and he's like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" And I'm like, "Yeah, all right." He's like, "You remember Captain Planet, right?" And I'm like,
This began no good conversation ever.
Yeah, he's like, "Did you know that Captain Planet was only in the U.S.?" He's like, "I've talked to people in other countries, and they have no idea what Captain Planet is." And I'm just like, "Why the fuck are you? Why did you single me out to talk about this?"
Now, he does make a good point, though, because he is Captain Planet. You think it would be worldwide.
Exactly, and he brought up that point.
Oh, maybe I
Captain-
have severe Asperger's.
So what did he do? He was like in another country? Maybe he was in like he could have just been in Canada, and they're like, "No, we have
No,
no
he
idea
was
what you're
talking about he was talking to some of our other coworkers. Like I think some of the guys in India and like Europe and
I'm envisioning him like stepping off of a plane and being like, at last I'm in Pakistan. Hey, did you guys have friends? You did. How about Captain Plant? No? What about the raccoons?
Hey, it's a quality show. Okay?
Yes, we have
I
raccoons
do
here.
remember that too. When I saw pictures of them, I visually remember that.
Oh,
Dude,
now
like,
I gotta
what-
now
no.
I gotta fucking look it up.
I'm telling you guys, like pull up an episode on YouTube and get ready for that shit
Ooh,
to
I
come
don't like the look of that at
flooding
all.
back.
Yeah,
Like,
I remember
I'm telling you.
the pink guy. Was he like the
Yeah,
villain
Cyril
on it?
Sneer.
Yeah, I feel like I've seen the pink guy somewhere.
That's his name.
Wait, let me see this thing.
It's a fucking aardvark. But it
Oh,
really.
I fucking remember that.
yeah, I
thing.
know, dude. That's what I'm telling you.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. Anyway, that's.
I mean, I was watching that. I was probably watching Fraggle Rock or some shit.
Yeah, it's
Oh, yeah,
like
yeah, yeah.
would be in
And
the same block.
And they were friends with a dim-witted dog. He was
Yeah,
like one of
exactly.
those characters that the 80s signified was dumb because you couldn't see his eyes through his hair.
The score to that show is actually like pretty fucking solid. It's like mid late 80s sort of like new wave pop like Tiffany type stuff.
Interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what James Horner was up to back then, right?
Yeah, I don't know who's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a composer.
Anyways, kind of bringing this whole thing full circle. One of the reasons I do love Boards of Canada is because it does have that kind of nostalgia feel to it. Like you feel
Yeah.
For
like
sure.
your childhood coming up from your gut.
Yeah, nice way of kind of like taking it on back.
Yeah.
Bringing you back to a simpler time before you knew,
Before 2001.
yeah.
Wait. Why?
Good night, everybody.
Yeah. And they do this cool thing, I guess, where when they finish the songs, they bounce them back and forth between tape machines to kind of give it that
That little waver.
little warble.
Yep.
Yeah.
Good shit.
Yeah, it's cool.
All right, let's do the thing.
Yeah.
All right. So favorite track. Let's start with Mr. Patrick.
What? Really?
Yeah.
My favorite track was what is it called? Chroma Key Dreamcoat. Yeah, it's just, it's a great introduction to the record, and I love how it kicks off. And I one thing that I've noticed that really stands out about the song is how each verse they introduce a different drum beat. Like all the other instrumentation is the exact same, like minus a few key elements here or there, but the drum beat they change up every time, so
Right.
it sort of acts like the lead instrument. It's kind of a cool effect.
Yeah, the way it should be.
Yeah, exactly. And I was introduced to this album by my wife Gina, actually, like a few years ago, and we were like driving through on a road trip through like buttfuck Illinois somewhere, and she rolled up a J, and we just.
Do you know people from Buttfuck?
I do. It's a good place.
Much like Springfield, there's a butt fuck in every state in the country.
There sure is. And we just like, smoked up or whatever, and like she put it on, and I was like, this is fucking great. And I have a very like good memory tied to that because of drugs, I guess.
Not because you were enjoying a moment with your wife.
Yeah, that too. It was a special moment, and
I was there with my good friend Weed.
exactly. And those acoustic guitars, they
Yeah.
stank. They fucking stank.
Yeah, they got that. That's a cool sample that they use for that. And I commented on towards the end it like drops out and the piano kind of comes in and then it builds up on top of that.
I do like that as well.
I'm sorry, I would just like to jump in here. Are you trying to do a thing?
Yes.
I thought you were. Okay. All right, no.
Good call. Yeah, I'm trying
No,
to make
I
trying
saw
to make the stank a thing.
I saw the little twinkle in your eyes right before you were about to say it.
Jesus Christ.
glad
I
you-
have a terrible poker face.
I'm glad you said something because I was like, is stank a thing on the podcast? I'm just going to go along with it. And
You're feeling it. Oh, glad we got that out of the way. Holy shit. Yeah, they stank.
Stanks and slams, slammy stank.
Yeah, is it a little too close to slam?
I don't give a shit.
All right, good enough, right?
Yeah, these aren't like, we don't have actual personal brands.
Brought to you by Bull Moose.
Speaking of which, they should sponsor us.
Yeah,
Yeah, we've been trying to get Bull Moose to sponsor us, Eric.
you should go for it. I think you can make it happen.
I've tweeted at them before. Bull Moose, we like your products. That's an example of what you can get. That was a freebie.
It would be a very good idea for you to sponsor this podcast.
That
Or
sounded
else.
more menacing.
That was not a threat.
All right, Christopher, what's your favorite song?
My favorite was Oscar See-Through Red Eye, or as I like to call it, Ostry.
Yeah, that's a great one.
That one, I just, the drum arrangement on it was pretty fucking dope. Kind of like Patrick was saying, just the drums were constantly changing throughout, and it kept it kind of interesting. One of the songs on this album I really liked, but I would have liked a lot more if they had the right singer on them, because there just wasn't anything there grabbing me for a lot of it. This is one of the songs where that did not make a fucking difference to me, because just the arrangement was there, and it was baller, as the kids say.
That's
So-
interesting because I wrote a note that I felt like this song was kind of scattered and all over the place. Like they just kind of threw everything in the kitchen sink in there.
Maybe that's why I was like, oh yeah, this doesn't need vocals. This is cool.
Yeah,
I did like.
it is a little more chaotic.
I love
yeah.
I love the pad swells at the beginning though. Those are cool.
So one thing that I noticed was there are these guitar bits that kind of happen throughout, sort of sporadically, that remind me of like chopped up samples of Alex Lifeson's guitar part in Mystic Rhythms, the Rush song.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
that's
Boards of Canada,
specific.
Canada Rush. Yeah, you know.
Yeah, I was like almost thinking like maybe like they just like, oh, there's like a few extra fucking Power Windows tapes we have laying around. Which is,
Yeah, they saw a commercial for like a Rush collected CD version in between their bagged milk documentaries.
Bagged milk has come up way too many times on this show.
It's basically just the twice with Rush and this, right?
I don't think so. We brought it up before. I think I think on another episode, a guest brought up bagged milk. It was Tyler. Tyler brought up bagged milk.
Oh, okay.
And then you were like, we talked about bagged milk.
Well, three's company.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't refrigerate your bagged milk, it starts to stank.
Yes.
oh, that's too bad.
Yeah, and then you'll have to slam it in the trash.
Oh, speaking of things that stink, I think I was telling you, I fucking, the morning of the 48 hour, I dry heaved twice
Nice.
within like an hour because first I was just like brushing my teeth and I just went too far back and, you know, started kind of dry heaving.
They just never get clean enough.
The second, so every year we do like a Friendsgiving and we brine a turkey in the cooler and I forgot to clean out the cooler, so the brine and the turkey innards had been sitting in this cooler since November. Mind you, it is now May.
No.
And I was like, I should move this cooler off the deck. Open lid, immediately start vomiting. And then
Oh,
Chris
man.
shows up. I was like, "Oh man, I already dry heaved twice. It's not
As
even
someone,
started yet."
as someone who used to work in the meat business, I know exactly what that fucking
Oh
smells
god,
like.
I'm gonna
It's-
dry heave again right now.
I've had to smell it at like, 4:45 in the morning going in like opening shift. Just like opening up the chicken case. Oh, that's rotten. Awesome.
Yeah, there's nothing worse than getting in there first thing and opening up the chicken case and realizing that something's rotten.
Yeah, we've all experienced it, right?
All been there.
I mean, like metaphorically.
I mean,
Yeah.
how does it
But-
get to that point though? I mean, you're selling this meat to customers.
All right, well, like sometimes like a piece will like fall in the back or whatever, and like it gets behind the grill or whatnot into the abyss, and then like one day we go and fish it out, and it's like, oh, it's been sitting back here since like 2007. Oh,
Yeah, that's where the phrase back chicken comes from.
yes, good stuff.
All right, Eric, what's your favorite song?
My favorite track, I think, was 84 Pontiac Dream. I thought
Oh,
that-
because Eric's always wanted an '84 Pontiac.
Oh, of course. I never stopped talking about cars. I thought that track came in really strong. I really like the heavy bass. Very catchy melody. Maybe it was a little, it's the word, a little more conventional than the rest of the tracks because I'm kind of a plebeian in that respect. But like Jimmy, you had mentioned that one of the strengths of Boards of Canada is the nostalgic factor.
Yes.
And I don't have a lot of personal nostalgia for maybe like the PBS kind of sound that this thing has. But what I did have a nostalgia for, I felt like this track kind of had some element of like chiptunes. And it
Okay.
really reminded me, I don't know if you guys ever played the Super Nintendo game Earthbound. It was like a really acid trippy kind of RPG. And this had a lot of elements of that really coming through. And it just really brought me back.
I'm glad everybody went back. Went
Yeah.
back in time with this album.
Yeah, it definitely felt like an old anime or fucking video game or something.
And it's funny
Okay.
that you brought up PBS because I purposely didn't mention PBS to
Really?
see if somebody else would bring it up. Okay. Because I remember watching PBS as a kid, and the sounds that this fucking band makes just encapsulates what PBS was. If you could take all of PBS and condense it into a song, it would be a Boards of Canada.
Well, like the PBS bump music and also just like whatever the fuck was.
Yeah.
We were being subjected to on Sesame Street.
Did you knew that PBS used to use a Kraftwerk song too, right? As one of their bumps. Yeah,
that right?
it was from the early days when it was just Ralph and Florian, and they did like live instrumentation. It's like there's a bit that has like super fast like flute going with like brush drums.
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's Rucksack by Kraftwerk. It's like one of their early songs.
Kraftwerk.
Oh yeah, that's fun. What's your favorite song?
Fuck you,
What's your favorite PBS
bump? You're such a bastard.
I know.
What is my favorite song? My favorite song was Peacock Tail.
Okay, I gotta talk to you about this real quick.
Yeah, you do, because you started cracking up when it came on.
Yeah, so I realized it sounds like pea cocktail. So I drew this picture to demonstrate.
For those playing at home, it is a stick figure pissing into a
That guy is so smug.
a martini glass.
Yeah, he's looking the wrong way, so I realized I had to add a hand to show that he's peeing in the right direction, and then his other hand I had to put on his hip.
You say his name is Pete Cocktail?
No, the song's called Pea Cocktail.
So
Right.
It's like a
So,
cocktail
like
of pea.
Well, what's the gentleman's name?
Cocktail. His name is Philip.
Okay.
Yeah.
That tracks. Sure.
Yeah, Philip drinks his own pee.
I'm going to tell you, pea cocktail, the drums slamming in multiple times during this song.
Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yeah, there's a pretty cool subtle ride pattern happening towards the end of the song too, and there's also a delay happening in the song, and I think it's the guitar. I think it's like the harmonics of the guitar are kind of they're delaying and echoing, and it sounds like a puppy barking.
Some really cool chord changes in that song too. Really all over the record.
Yeah.
There's a lot of
And
cool modulations.
The marimba samples are cool too.
Yeah.
And there's some towards the end, like there's some kid samples that are creepily building up in the background. Just sounds of like kids playing.
The most terrifying thing I
They
could
do that. They do that a lot on their albums.
I'm right there with you, man.
I'm just picturing like a little cockney girl. Come on, let's play Red Rover. That rolls her R's for some reason.
Like a dead Victorian child.
Come here. I'm ever so lonely here down this well.
Let's play some tiddlywinks.
Kippers for breakfast.
Why do they all roll their R's?
I can't help it.
All right.
All of my foreign accents just have rolling R's.
Yeah. So last night we were coming back home from work, my wife and I was like really punchy from like just answering emails all day because I had taken a few days off, and I had taken chicken drumsticks out of the freezer to have for dinner. So my wife was asking what I wanted to do for dinner, and without hesitation, my response was drumsticks. So what's really important about that is that you have to accent as much as possible the drum while saying stick in your normal voice as close as normal as possible.
Stick.
Yeah.
That's fun, Christopher.
Let's all try to say stick as normal as possible.
All right, Patrick, what's your least favorite song?
Stick.
Sticks, yes.
Yeah, constants are changing. It just doesn't do anything. It's in C major. I fucking hate C major. It sounds like kindergarten. I skip it.
Took me too far back.
Took you too far back. Too far back. Pull it back.
far back.
Rein it in a little bit.
Yeah. It's just sort of a meh
It was
track.
it was a baritone guitar, though. That was fun.
That was a little fun, sure.
That was actually my only note for this. Baritone guitar, that's fun.
Yeah, it's nice. It's nice.
My only note for this song was soft.
It's very soft, and it's fine. I guess it serves its purpose on as like a little break, but I don't know. I skip it every time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Adiron Chronon would be my least favorite. It would be cool intro music for like a live show, but just as a separate track on an album, I don't think it really has a place there. And it was right after good old Austri, so I think that was bad placement for it.
Yeah, I would have picked that one, but I didn't feel like pronouncing it. I just like bestowed that labor onto you.
No, that's cool. I'm more than happy to pick up any dead weight you leave around.
I do have a lot of that. I have a lot of jettison.
Erik.
For me, actually, my least favorite was probably Chroma Key Dreamcoat. Hot takes here. Primarily because my
This week on the studio. I almost said the studio.
I know
someone.
you did.
I
yeah,
know.
it's-
Yeah.
You just got to ask him. You just got to ask Tom.
Oh, no. We already went over this when he was on the show.
Go to him.
I've tried, and I've tried.
Get on your knees and
I've
beg.
tried.
Yeah, my previous experience with Boards of Canada was Tomorrow's Harvest, which I noticed after we started recording was done like 8 years later, and there's definitely a different sound between those two albums.
Yeah.
There are.
So Chroma Key Dreamcoat really took me by surprise and not in a way that I was hoping it would. So it didn't really hook me in like the way I was hoping a title track would. That's really all. It's not really a bad song. I don't think there is a bad song on this album, but this one just really didn't grab me like I was hoping it would.
Didn't grab you by the PBS balls.
No, it didn't, Jimmy.
Didn't grab him by his drumstick.
Well, I grabbed my balls, and I moved on.
My least favorite was Sherbet Head.
Yeah.
I don't even remember what the song sounds like, to be honest. I think it was just kind of a synth kind of droning on for about a minute.
Were you as annoyed by the title as I was? Because that was almost my least favorite song on that alone.
Yeah, I wasn't happy about that.
It's not a great title. The chords progression in it's pretty good. But
I
like
think
you're
I
saying, there's a
remember
lot
liking
of good chord
yeah.
progressions in this album, so it's not like noteworthy.
Right. Wait, is it Sherbert or Sherbet?
Sherbet.
Sherbet Head.
Yeah, like sherbet, the actual thing.
The actual thing,
Yeah.
Sherbet.
What's
But,
the
like,
difference?
Sherbert's not a
Excuse me,
thing.
sir. I'm having trouble differentiating between ketchup and ketchup.
Well, Sherbert's not a thing, right?
It's not.
No, that's what I thought.
What is it?
It's not a thing. It's nothing.
It's
not a word.
It's a malpropism. It's a mispronunciation of that word.
Yeah, sherbet.
It's supposed to be
the-
sherbet, but there is a sorbet, which is
Yeah,
a
see,
different
I-
thing.
Yeah, also
This is
without
why I
an
never.
RT at
This
the
is
end.
why I never order this stuff at the ice cream place because I'm afraid I'm going to say it wrong.
Yeah.
Same thing with like chorizo or chorizo or whatever the fuck it is. I don't know how to say that. Some people call it chorico. I don't know how the fuck to say it,
Yeah,
so I'm not
that's-
going to order it.
It's
That's why-
chorizo.
For the rest of your life, you're going to have vanilla ice cream and hot dogs. This is your life.
What you got to do is own that shit, though. Like, call it by whatever name you want, but do not back down. That is the most important thing. I was behind this woman in line at Dunkin' Donuts one day who was really pissed off because her wrap was taking a while. And like, their breakfast wraps called like fucking breakfast wraps. There's like no weird catchy name. She kept saying over and over in a really unreasonable manner, "I just want my wrap and go. Where is my wrap and go?" And
Oh, man.
that's when I
Man.
realized like it doesn't
Man.
matter what you call the product. Just fucking call it whatever and own it.
Ma'am,
people
ma'am,
are
that
like-
does not exist on the menu.
People who are like mad extra like that, they always like call things by the wrong thing, and it makes it's like they're doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
They don't want to. They can't be bothered to call it the correct thing. They just have their own version of whatever the fuck they want to think it is in their head.
Where's my huge Mac?
That's what I call it. That's what I want. My burger. Customer's always right.
Okay.
Where the fuck were we?
Patrick's going to do his MVP moment.
An MVP moment. Yeah, hold on. I got that for you. Yeah, I really like those guitars in Dave on Cowboy, the sort of tremolo-y rhythmic
Yeah.
guitars. It kind of reminded me of Violator era Depeche Mode a bit, the way it sort of like dances around your headphones. Yeah, that's a moment that kind of, for me, like it got all kind of locked in. That like, all right, that I can see what these guys are about. They do good shit.
They take fast, clean shits.
They do, and that's important.
By the way, my note for Slow This Bird Down. This is when we were talking about taking shits.
Well, I mean, no, forget it.
No, Jimmy, I don't want to forget you.
Welcome back to Shit Talk. Talk about our dookies.
There's got to be a podcast that's just about shit.
It's most podcasts, really.
Touche.
Welcome back to Scat Boys.
Oh man, the Dookie Boys.
I feel like
would be great.
the Duke would be one of the hosts.
Oh yeah.
With the Duke and your pal, Fecal
BM.
Fred.
Fecal friend.
So wait, okay, hold on. Let's take this around the horn. Like, what are they doing? Are they talking about their like shits during the week?
Well,
Like,
they're
or
recording from a
comparing it?
log cabin.
Okay. Obviously. True.
I feel like the scope would be too small for them to just be looking at their own shits. Like, I think that they would have to have...
It's a call-in show.
Yeah, probably have to be a call-in show. Like, users would have to be getting in touch, maybe sending emails with pictures.
Captain's log.
Log of the week.
They review celebrity shits with the help of the paparazzi.
BMZ. Yeah, I mean, that could be kind of cathartic, though. Like, people don't talk about their shits enough, and, like, maybe you just have to...
What
sometimes
company
just-
do you keep? All my friends talk about their shits way too much.
Yeah, but I mean, like, sometimes a good shit's a good shit. You gotta just, like, let the world know, like, it was fast, it was smooth, it was clean.
Do you know
like,
how many times Eric's fucking messaged our group channel and go, guys, I'm on a conference call right now and I just took the biggest shit.
Yeah, it's liberating. And by the way, now I can't post this episode on my Facebook because my boss is on it.
Sure you can.
I think I said something to our message thread the other day about taking a nice 9th floor dump. Because you do, if we work on the 3rd floor, but like sometimes the bathroom's occupied, we gotta go. There's like 10 floors, so we gotta go like 10, or if that one's occupied, gotta go to 9.
Yeah, every floor has like 200 people working on it and 2 stalls.
Yeah,
it's like the fucking...
And it's free-
It's a DMZ.
it's free coffee, and of course people are just like shitting
free
all
coffee
day.
and alcohol.
Yeah, just people just pooping. We're just like ducks. Just pooping and shitting.
And the best thing is, the bathrooms smell horrible, obviously.
They
But
smell like a fucking
they
zoo.
they smell like a zoo. They don't smell like standard bathrooms.
It's just a mix.
It's like there's hay in there somehow.
It's just like the combined scent of like 200 different assholes.
Speaking of assholes, I want to kiss
Wait.
the anus and move along.
No, I got one more thing. This is great.
Oh, boy.
So, my building is in South Station, which is fucking... the building is older than Christ.
Oh yeah, it is.
The elevators
1
don't.
BC.
The elevators don't work. The fucking toilets don't work. So going back to the
Those
Asperger's,
bathrooms are rough.
going back to the Asperger's guy who asked me about Captain Planet. We're going full circle. I was on the can one day and I heard him 3 stalls down because he fucking talks to himself all day.
Sure.
He's in there and he flushes the toilet.
Oh god.
Jimmy, breathe.
And I just hear him like, oh, fuck. and I hear the water starting to hit the floor.
Oh no.
He's like, he's just like, God damn it. Just fucking, he's just like, like talking to himself.
I mean, that is a shit moment though.
All right, so a CFO for a company, well, actually, the company I'm with now, I left them for a while and came back. Our CFO forever ago is a guy who used to talk on the toilet a lot. Like, he would just be on the phone. You'd hear him on the phone while he was taking a shit, and you knew his voice, so you knew it was him just fucking sitting in there wearing his fancy suit talking to someone. If he wasn't on his phone, he would be like, hey, who's out there? Oh, no! So, like, one time I made the mistake of answering him, and he's like, oh, hey, so you had some pretty good numbers the other day I saw. And I was like, cool.
Yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, the one thing that fucked me up the most with this guy, though, is one time I heard him on the phone, and, like, it was just no thing. I was, like, relieved to hear it, because I wouldn't have to talk to him. And then he's just like, oh, okay, yeah, so I'll see you later. I love you.
Oh,
I was just like, I don't care who you're talking to, man. That's
that person should just say fuck you if they knew what you were doing. I hate that shit.
No, I assume that he is the kind of guy who takes a shit with an open door when his wife is around.
Oh yeah, totally.
And that's just, you're an animal if you do that. I don't care. I'm just putting that out there right now.
I mean, I do it.
Do you? Wait, really?
Yeah, why not?
Oh my god.
I have to because the cats fucking whine at the door if I don't.
Oh yeah, that's a...
That's important. No, it's obnoxious, so I just let them come in and hang out. They just,
Oh hey guys, come on in and watch.
listen, I don't make the rules. They run the show. If they want to watch, it's like whatever. Now I'm kind of just used to it. Now I need them there.
I can't go unless the cats are around.
Gunter, get up here. I need to go Dookies, but I'm stuck.
I really like the drums on Oscar's.
I knew what you were doing. I saw it.
Thank you. This got really blue.
Yeah,
I'm back.
Got really brown.
that was my favorite part. Eric, what was your favorite part?
I like.
I mean, when I told Eric we just shoot the shit for most of the show, I don't think he expected this.
No, I didn't expect it to be literal, really. No. My favorite part was probably halfway through Dave Van Cowboy, where we get that nice little break in the middle that started to like build some tension that I really felt was missing from the album, and that's really when the album started for me. That's when I really started enjoying it.
Yeah, it's a good moment where it really kicks off in the middle there.
Yeah, that was also my MVP moment. I said distortion drops out and you get a moment of epic clarity. Like the kind of clarity where you just like realize that like, oh shit, what have I been doing with my whole life?
Yeah. No, definitely. It has that sort of effect.
You might even say
it's
that
a moment of clarity.
It kind of slams.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is this a slam? Can I say it slams?
I mean, you can. It's not going to have the same effect.
It slams. It slams.
Now, were you actually trying to do a moment of clarity joke there? Or?
Why? Because the next song is called Moment of Clarity?
Yes.
No, I actually didn't realize. I wrote that note and then went, oh, yeah, look, the next song is Moment of Clarity.
All right. I thought you were playing off of it. Being
I wasn't.
Being a regular wordsmith.
I wasn't.
All right.
You're a regular wordsmith
It's a
wizard.
total coincidence. Yeah. All right. Comparable album?
Comparable album. I'm going to go with Stereolab's Dots and Loops. It's a record that it's a little older and it has vocals. It's sort of like a neo krautrock album from the mid '90s, but it's a record that I sort of treat the same way as this Boards of Canada record, where I can just kind of throw it on in the background and like I'm not distracted by it, but it's interesting and it sort of like keeps my mind occupied and like it sort of I don't know if I'm not listening to anything, I sort of and I need some background noise. It's sort of like a good thing for that. It's also just like a really fucking solid, driving record as well as this Boards of Canada record. That's all I have to say.
I would compare this to. There's a band out of, I think, Australia called Working for a Nuclear-Free City, which is one of the worst band names I've ever heard, but they're actually pretty good. Their first album was called Businessmen and Ghosts, and shared a lot with us sonically. Wasn't quite as interesting rhythmically, but they had vocals on probably about half of the songs, which I think was basically what this album was missing for me.
Eric? Is it cheating if I say another Boards of Canada album? Because
No.
I couldn't think of any. Okay, all right. Tomorrow's Harvest.
No rules, baby.
Yeah, I couldn't really think of anything else that really compared to this start to finish. I could think of like a couple of individual tracks, but other than that, no, I couldn't really think of anything that was comparable to this. This is a very unique sound.
I want to say that opening track on Tomorrow's Harvest, I love it because it reminds me of an 80s Disney release, like a Dumbo, but like a VHS that was released in like the mid 80s. So it has that like really corny entrance music.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say Dumbo was from 1941.
It was, but like they were when you got the VHS release, it had like the special Disney logo that told you.
I caught up with you in the end. I was just at the beginning. I was really confused.
I did not know that Dumbo was that old.
Oh yeah.
I was listening to a podcast on the way down. And they mentioned when Dumbo came out, so I happened to have just learned that.
You didn't see the '86 reboot that they did?
The gritty reboot with fucking
the cyberpunk fucking reboot by fucking Ridley Scott.
Yeah, with Danny Glover in it.
Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, it was set in L.A. instead of the jungle.
Yeah.
My comparable album is going to be Hard Normal Daddy by Square Pusher, 1997. Also on Warp Records.
Yeah.
I always appreciate when electronic musicians can make something that sounds fucking organic. I think that's just awesome.
Now, is it certified organic or?
No, I mean it's.
I really enjoy it when I hear people doing things the hard way.
Yeah.
No, seriously, you got to work for it, man.
Yeah, I know for sure.
No, I hear what you're saying. You should check out Amon Tobin. He'd be right up your alley.
Okay, I think I've heard that before.
Yeah, he basically works with all like actual recorded samples of things.
Yeah.
That he records himself. So it'd probably be something you'd be into.
I believe Venetian Snares does that as well. I'm pretty sure Venetian Snares did a whole album that was just like samples of him having sex with some chick.
That makes sense because Venetian Snares sounds like a slang for something awful. Yeah, dude, I went out with this chick I met on Craigslist. She gave me a Venetian snare. I think I should see the doctor.
I got to get a Venetian smear.
All right, you want to rate it?
Let's give it a rating.
Yeah.
All right, what's the rating system? 1 out of 10?
Yeah, integers only. None of that. Yeah, none of that pitchfork nonsense.
All right, Patrick. Give me a number.
All right, I'm gonna give it an 8. I think it's just a solid as fuck driving album, cruising around, smoking the J, like all that good shit.
Speaking of numbers, just talking about numbers now just brought me back to another nostalgia point. That one was it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Oh my god, yeah, good shit. Yeah, and it's like I said before, it's interesting without being like terribly distracting. So it's just like it's a good record that I know is gonna put me in a certain zone. It's not perfect, but I do. I think it is a little long. I think they could have gotten away with like cutting a few of the segue tracks out, and
For sure.
yeah, and like there wasn't a real definitive flow to the record. I feel like any of those tracks could have been rearranged and like it could have worked in any sort of order, and it just sort of at times felt like a bunch of great songs thrown together in like a good playlist. But other than that, it gets a high rating in my book.
I'd give it a 6. And it kind of hurts me to do that because I really like this album, but I don't think that there's enough going on to justify it being instrumental. I think half of these songs should have had vocals, and if they had the right vocalist on it, this would easily be an 8 in my book. But just with the length of some of the songs and what was actually going on with a lot of them, I just was zoning out a lot.
So, speaking of vocals, I was reading in the Wikipedia article that Solange, the R&B singer, sings over a sample of Slow This Bird Down. I'm actually really curious to hear that.
Yeah, that is the song that we were talking about taking shits over.
Yes, yeah. Yes,
So it looks like someone beat us to it.
Oh, man, yeah. Solange just thinking about taking a steamy dump.
She
gets real.
I haven't heard the
real.
song. I'm sure it's quite lovely.
I love Solange.
Come on the show.
Come on the show.
Yeah, come on the show. Prove me wrong.
Eric?
I think I agree with Chris. So I'm going to give this a 6 out of 10. There were a couple of standout tracks. A lot of it ran together for me. I think I'm also a little bit spoiled by having heard Tomorrow's Harvest first, which I found to be a fantastic album. I would listen to some of the songs on loop for hours on end while I was debugging stuff on mainframe code. It was just perfect for that.
Give me the codes, Natalia.
We just I can't mention what I used to do for work without you making GoldenEye references. I just can't. My gut instinct was that if Tomorrow's Harvest was a PBS special about how computers are built, this one was about where sand comes from.
Sand.
Oh God. I'm giving it an 8. I love this album. I think it's beautiful. I agree that some things can be taken out of it to maybe shorten it down a little bit. I do feel like I kind of get a little bit exhausted listening to it because there's so much going on throughout the entire album. So maybe if they cut a couple of the filler tracks out there, it might be a little more.
Yeah, it's a real Chinese democracy.
Yeah, well, you run the risk of of not really listening to those last few tracks.
Yeah.
I was saying, I was surprised that the running time for the last track, Favorable Fire, was 8.5 minutes. It was I thought this was just a little 2-minute thing at the end.
Well, it kind of is.
It's mostly fade. Yeah.
It just fades out, and
Yeah.
you can barely hear it for a good 6 minutes of the track.
Right.
But yeah, no, it gets an 8. Like I mentioned, I feel like anytime an electronic musician can make something sound organic like that, it really resonates with me.
Yeah, it's great, kind of retro production.
7. 7 is the aggregate review.
Excellent.
It resonates with you?
Yeah. No, and
Sorry, I had committed too early.
you made me lose my train of thought with your
I'm
stupid
so
drum
sorry.
beat.
With your stupid drumstick.
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 Right.
I'm not doing it.
Yeah, you don't have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, this came out in 2005, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
and
turned 18 and it came out.
Happy birthday. Here's an album.
the sort of retro vibe of it sort of foreshadowed the vaporwave movement that would come out maybe 6 years later. I think that's kind of note.
The fuck is vaporwave?
It's like Duke Nukem Forever.
Is that right?
Sorry.
I think that's called vaporware.
Same thing.
Sorry.
No, okay. Vaporwave is this phenomenon. It's
Christopher, you are in a mood this evening.
feisty.
You're a feisty boy
Yeah,
this
we gotta
evening.
Patrick kept me waiting 5 minutes tonight.
Right? We gotta get him his juice and snack. And
You
go to
threw him
bed.
off. His fucking chi is off.
Yeah, I have no idea what the fuck I was talking about now.
Vaporwave.
Oh yeah, so it's I can't really explain it, but it's a phenomenon that kind of came around maybe early 2010s to mid 2010s. It was just it was all about the aesthetic, and the specific aesthetic was anything VHS or early internet, and I don't know. You'll see me post a bunch of shit memes that kind of reflect that aesthetic sometimes, but I don't know. It's stupid.
Imagine a Trapper Keeper, but it's on the internet.
Yeah, basically. Remember the sweet cup and cakes on Homestar Runner? Did anyone watch Homestar
Oh
Runner?
yeah,
yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, just imagine that world, and that's vaporwave.
Okay. So Flash cartoons.
Yeah, kind of. Oh man, Newgrounds. Remember that shit?
Yeah.
And all the Flash animations that warmed our hearts, and we grew up.
Exposed to a number of things we shouldn't have been.
Yeah, remember
Stickdeath.com. You guys remember Stick Death?
Yeah, because those are the days of Rotten.com and all that bullshit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember Rotten.com.
All right, fuck. We're just talking about things we remember now.
That was the point of the album.
I
To bring
guess.
you back into nostalgia.
Welcome back to Old Men Talk About the Early 2000s. Do you boys remember?
Do you remember when Blink 182 had hits?
No.
Do you remember when Interpol was good? I don't.
After the first Interpol album came out, I almost bought it. I held it in my hands, and I should say I'm a fan of them. I like that album. I own it now.
I like Interpol.
But I almost bought it, but at the time I was like, I already have all the Joy Division albums. So I put them on.
All right. Are we done here?
Yeah.
Have we
fuck
had
off.
enough?
Yeah.
I mean, Christopher needs to go home and go to sleep. He's being a grumpy old man tonight. Fuck y'all.
You take my pizza and go to bed.
All right. So
You sounded like the park ranger from the Humphrey Bear cartoons.
Now, Humphrey. Put it in the bag. Boom, boom. Fucking, oh my God. It's like J. Audubon Woodlore or something like that. He's one of my favorite Disney characters.
That's a half-elf bard if I've ever heard one.
He's chaotic good, you see. He trains the bears to clean the park.
all right. This has been 2005's The Campfire Headphase by Boards of Canada. Thank you, Eric, for joining us on this shit show.
Glad to be here. Glad I brought this out in you guys.
No, thank you. This is a
Yeah,
hoot.
this is great.
All right. I'm Jim.
All right, good night.
I'm hungry.
You just ate, for fuck's
Hi,
sake.
hungry. I'm Dad.
Thank you for bringing that around. That was a three-corner joke, everyone.
And I'm Duke Nukem. Forever.
Didn't that actually come out?
It
It was terrible.
Yeah.
All right. I'm done here.
All right, I'm done.
Patrick? All right. Goodbye. See you in hell. Bye.
Goodbye, and I love you.
Each of us has a purpose. We are destined to do something meaningful, not only to support our loved ones, but to positively impact our communities throughout the country. What do you think a private Christian education looks like? Grand Canyon University offers over 175 high-quality online programs across 9 colleges. Find your purpose at Grand Canyon University. Visit gcu.edu.